Hey guys, today's lesson is going to be on a big part of music history, the Roland TR-808 analog drum machine, used on countless hit records. Many different producers use this. The first two Run DMC albums, the Beastie Boys, Whitney Houston, I can go on and on and on. The TR-808 has a very unique history. It came out in 1980. The first 3 years, it was competing against several different drum machines, the Oberheim DMX, the Linn drum. These drum machines had samples in them, so they sounded more realistic. And this was not samples. This was analog sounds created electronically with circuits and transistors. And the first 3 years of the life of this, it was only sold for 3 years. Didn't do so well. So these were available in secondhand stores. So a lot of producers picked these up in Detroit, in New York, and they started producing a lot of hip hop. And the big thing about this is that bass drum, that kick drum that has that big, beautiful round tone. People did not hear that. It would shake the speakers. So we hear this still in a lot of productions today. People have sampled this, and it's in every digital audio workstation. It's even in GarageBand. Today's lesson is going to be for beginners. What you're looking at right here is a boutique version of the Roland TR-808. It's an exact replica of the instrument itself. The workflow is exactly the same, and it has a couple of more features. And what you're looking at on the screen here is a software version of it in what's called Roland Cloud. It sounds amazing. It's based on the same type of technology, analog component modeling. They call it ACB technology. And I'm just going to play a few things for you, and then we're going to go through something that everybody can use. It's a TR-808 for everyone, and that's going to be online. Very cool. It's a web-based, browser-based TR-808. So check this out. So I'm going to trigger this right now, and we're going to hear pattern. You can see I just chose a track, and in that track, it's going to play a series of patterns. And what you're hearing right now is not the physical TR-808. You're hearing the software version of it. So it's going to play a few patterns. It's on pattern 8 right now. It's going to pattern 9. Basically, you can chain all these patterns together to make a song. And that's what's happening right now. And what I can do, which is really cool, I can actually adjust. If I want the bass drum a little bit louder, I'm turning the knobs on the physical unit. It's controlling the software as well. Maybe I want that snare drum a little louder. Maybe I want some more cymbals. Some hi-hat patterns. Hand claps a little loud. All right, so you get the idea. It's very cool. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through a web-based TR-808. So I should have it right here, and there it is. You don't have to pay for this. It's free. Somebody made this. They did a great job. His name is down here. He's also a DJ, and it's all HTML-based, I believe. Okay, so now we're going to look at the web-based TR-808. It's called the IO808, and this is really, anybody can use this. So if you want to get started with programming drums, I suggest you look at something like this, all right? So let's just check this out, all right? Before you would program anything, I suggest you do what's called a pattern clear. So I'm going to go all the way to here, and I'm going to click on that. So that's going to clear this whole area here. There's 16 different tabs. In those 16 tabs, I can play different parts of a drum beat, and I can select different instruments of a drum set. So theoretically, it's always good to learn this stuff. It's really not that difficult. there's 16 different steps here, and each step represents a part of a beat. In our case, this is going to be one full beat, and it's broken up into 4 little parts, and we call these 16th notes. So if I pressed on every single tab, if I chose the snare drum, and I pressed on every single tab, 16 of them, it's going to play a 16th note snare drum pattern. Okay? And how do you count these 16th notes? You count it 1, E, and A. And here's the downbeat of 2. There's really 4 beats. You're looking at a measure right here. And it's cool that it's color-coded. If we look at this color here, it's different than this. This is orange, this is red, this is yellow, and this is white. So the first part of it is the first part of the beat. Okay? And there's 4 beats here broken up into 4 little parts. Again, we call them 16th notes, and you count them 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. All right, so let's just try to program a very simple bass drum pattern. And I'm going to select over here. This is where I'm going to select my instruments. So these tabs are going to play whatever is selected here. And here's my tempo. I'm going to leave it at this. The original one had the same kind of thing here. It was 0 to 10. The Boutique doesn't have that. It has a knob, but it's for volume, and you can adjust the tempo. You could actually type in 128 or, adjust it to 90 beats per minute, whatever that is. I believe this is like 97 beats per minute right here. Okay, guys, so here is a very famous song from a group called Surface. It's called Happy. And here is the programming sheet. And I'll explain how to read this in a second. And we're going to program this exact pattern. There's only 2 different parts to this. There's a first part and there's a second part. So what you're looking at here, again, are the steps, 16 steps. Each step equals one part of a note, really a beat, a full beat, but you're breaking that beat into 4 little parts, and they're called 16ths. All right, so the first part is 1. Here's the E of 1, 1 E and A. Here's the second beat, 2 E and A. Here's the third beat, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Again, this is 4 beats here. In our case, it's 1 measure of music. All right, so we're going to start with the bass drum. And if we look at this little programming chart here, the bass drum is on top. So these are the black part of it here means that you're going to click on that first part. And I know it's kind of small, but we could figure out what it is. And the bottom part is the hi-hat. Here's the open hi-hat. Here's the hand clap. Here's the snare drum. And here is the bass drum. 2 different patterns. We're going to chain them together. I will go through this, and it'll be great if you guys can do the same kind of thing. All right, so here we go. So again, we're going to go to, I'm just going to clear the pattern, make sure there's nothing in there. And I go to here. This is the first part. I'm going to do a pattern write. I'm going to write 1 pattern first. Here's my instrument select. Here's my tempo. I'm going to leave it right here. I can adjust it later. I can fine tune the tempo here as well. There's volume controls for every instrument. This is an accent. You can add an accent on any one of these little tabs here for the instruments. We're going to program a bass drum pattern first. And again, we're going to chain them together. So on each little strip here, what we have is a tone control and a decay. And we're going to adjust that afterwards to just kind of hear what we want. We can modernize this. This song came out, I believe, in the late 80s or the early 90s. And it was a pretty big hit. Fairly easy to program and to understand as well. So, and if you listen to the song, this is the exact pattern. All right, so let's just go through the bass drum. So the bass drum's right here. I select bass drum, BD, it's number 2. And I'm going to make sure this is on A. I'm going to start this. It's going through the steps. As you can see, the light is going through all the different steps. And I'm going to click on 1, which is the first part of the beat. And when it goes around, we could hear it. Yes, it's great. And then I'm going to count over here because I can't see it. So it's 1 E and 2 E and So I believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we want to put it on 8 and 11. So there's our kick drum pattern for the first part. And if I look at the snare drum, it's on 1 E and it's on beat 2. So we have to do the same thing here, but we have to select it. SD is snare drum. I'm going to let this go. 1 E and 2. So it's number 5. And I can adjust the volume as I go along. If I feel that that snare drum's too loud, I can adjust the tone of it as well. I kind of like it a little bright. You would think adjusting that tone all the way up, it's making it sounds a little different. All right, so snappy is going to make it snappier. All right, so now I'm going to take this, and this is also on beat 4, which is 1, 2, 3. It's 4 away from the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 13. I know that anyway, but if you're not sure of that, you can just count it. So 2 and 4 is always on beat step 5 and step 13. All right, so now we have the hand clap, which is going to mimic the snare drum. That's very common. So I want to make sure that there's 2 little tabs here. I want to make sure it's on hand clap. And it is. I want to lower the volume a little bit. And I'm going to pick the same beats for the hand clap. And I have to go all the way to the CP. That would be the clap. And I'm going to choose which beats again? 5 and 13. And I kind of want to blend those in together. Sounds pretty good to me. And then I want to do the closed hi-hat. So I'm going to go all the way here. CH. And I'm going to do this. First 3. Skip 1. Skip 1. Skip 1. Skip 1. And then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Now, the next one I need is my open hi-hat. So I have to look here and see which this is on. I really can't read the numbers because it's so small. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. So here's my open hi-hat on 7 and 9. Okay, so that's what it is. That's the first part. I'm going to stop it right now. First part is written in there. Now I'm going to go to the second part. There it is. So now I need to program. I can do this hi-hat pattern if I'd like. If I'm looking at this, it's really the same. Now, here's the trick to this. A lot of people get stuck with this. You do have to set the second part. You do have to set the steps for the second part. And we're going to do the same kind of thing. We're going to choose 16 steps, which is a full beat, breaking that beat into 4 little parts called 16th notes. I have my second part chosen. I'm going to go all the way to the bass drum. And what I need to do is take this little dot. I'm going to drag it to the step that I want it to be. I want it to match the first pattern. It's going to be the same length. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go all the way. We notice those dots are blinking. And there we go. So I just let it go. So it's going to be on a full 4 beats. It's going to be individual 16th notes. And now I'm going to get busy programming my bass drum. So the bass drum is going to be on the first. I'm going to just do this. Now you're going to hear the first part of the beat and it's going to stop. It's going through all the 16th. So now I'm going to play the second part. I want to get that first part there. And the kick pattern to me is exactly the same. So again, we want to count over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll do it on 8 and 11. Next one is snare drum. Beats 2 and 4, 5, and 13. And the next one, we want the hand clap. Hand clap is a little bit different, and we have something else in here too. So we're going to go all the way to the hand clap. And I'm going to choose, it's a little different than the first one. Oh, no, it's not. It's the same. So we're going to do 5 and 13. But now we're going to do what's called a rim shot. And we're going to put that rim shot on. Let's see what it is. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. Am I missing anything? Yes. The open hi-hat. I'm going to go all the way to here. OH. And I'm going to go to, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my open hi-hat. And this is my pattern. This is the entire song. Okay? Now, what you need to do here is you need to go through all of these sounds and adjust it to how you like it. If you want the bass drum to be louder, you do that. If you want the tone to be different in the bass drum, you want the decay, meaning it's going to ring out. You hear that? So that's like you would hear if you were driving around in a car and it's got a subwoofer and it's overdriving it. It really came from this. Or maybe, actually, yeah, it did. Probably came from this first before these subwoofers were placed in cars. All right. So that's it. So now you are not finished. All right. So this is you're just going to do this. You're not changing the variations at all. And for us to say or play this, well, it's actually playing. If we look at it, I'm going to hit start, stop. It's going from the first part to the second part. Now, what you can do is save this. And what it does is it saves it to a file that, and there it is. So I just saved it to this file. And what you would do is take that file and you would send it to somebody who has this kind of thing. You guys can trade patterns back and forth to make a beat. And that's really it. So, and then that person can open it up in the web-based 808. So if they would just click here on load, they can get that going. All right, so that is it. This is the 808 for everyone. I highly recommend this. If someone wants to really learn about this without spending any money, you don't need to spend a dime on this stuff. And you can actually get good at making beats and programming using this. There's many ways to program beats. This is just one of them. I tend to use a combination of finger drumming, adding stuff using the tap, and doing some step sequencing. Step sequencing is pretty easy if you know exactly where these beats fall. If you're going to create a dance type of pattern, I would probably use a 909, Roland 909 for that. But if I was going to do that, I would put 4 on the floor. So it's 1, E and 2, 3, and 4. All right. So there you go. So here's that song. I'm going to play the song as well later. And there it is. That's the entire song. Plays throughout the whole song. Doesn't change. These two patterns. Programmed on a real TR-808. Okay, so that's it for today. TR-808 for everyone. Hope you all enjoyed this. That's it for today. Take care.